What if I told you that in just 7 days, a simple oil, one you likely already have at home, could breathe new life into the one area of your body that many men over 60 silently worry about but rarely discuss? Yes, I'm talking about below the belt. And no, this isn't about pills, injections, or surgery. It's about restoring what time and stress have quietly taken from you: your blood flow, sensitivity, and confidence as a man. I'm Dr. John, a urologist and professor specializing in men's health for over 30. In that time, I've helped thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s reclaim the strength and performance they thought were lost forever. What I'm about to share with you is backed by both clinical knowledge and personal experience, not by gimmicks. And yet, very few doctors will even mention it. Here's the surprising part. One of the most overlooked solutions for aging, underperforming male tissue isn't found in a prescription, it's found in nature. When applied correctly, this simple oil has the power to awaken circulation, restore nerve response, and make your most private area feel strong, warm, and alive again. By incorporating this one daily habit, you could change how you feel about your body starting this week. Over the next few minutes, I'll explain exactly what oil to use, how to apply it, what to expect day by day, and 3 simple ways to enhance its effects. If you've been feeling less like yourself lately, stick with me. What you're about to learn might just transform everything. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time to hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another men's health tip, specifically designed for men over 60. And if this video resonates with you, even a little, type 1 in the comment. If not, type 0 and let me know how I can better support you on your journey. Now let's get into the real reason many men over 60 begin to feel disconnected from their bodies, especially below the belt. It's not just aging, and it's not your fault. The truth lies deeper in something most doctors rarely explain: a gradual but steady decline in circulation, sensitivity, and cellular health in the very area that defines so much of our identity as men. Why many men over 60 struggle down there? I see it all the time. Men in their 60s and beyond, sitting in my office, quietly frustrated, sometimes even ashamed. They're not the men they used to be, not physically, not intimate. They don't always voice it, but I can hear it in their tone and see it in their posture. The spark seems to have faded, and their bodies no longer respond the way they once did. They convince themselves that this is simply part of aging. But let me be clear, it's not that simple. What's happening down there isn't some mysterious curse that comes with age. It's a gradual biological shift. As we age, the blood vessels in the lower pelvic area, specifically the arteries and capillaries that supply oxygen-rich blood to the penis and surrounding tissues, start to narrow and stiffen. The elasticity those vessels once had to expand and flood the area with blood during arousal slowly diminishes. Without that consistent blood flow, you lose not only function but also sensation. Your sensitivity starts to fade, spontaneous erections become less frequent, and the morning stiffness you once took for granted might become rare or vanish entirely. On top of that, nerve endings that once responded to the lightest touch now need more stimulation to react. And here's the part no one talks about. With reduced blood flow and lower nerve sensitivity, your brain starts to adjust. For many men, disconnecting from their body in that region feels like it's no longer truly theirs. That quiet sense of confidence, the physical vitality that comes from being alive, is often the first thing to fade, and it's painful. It's not just in the bedroom, it affects the mirror, your marriage, and your mindset. Let me share something personal. My father, a proud, strong man who spent his life working hard with his hands, once told me during a quiet moment, "Son, it's like part of me just stopped waking up. I feel like I'm fading." Those words stuck with me, not because they were tragic, but because they were avoidable. He didn't need a miracle. What he needed was circulation, stimulation, and restoration. When we gave him that, when we activated his body the right way, he came back to life, not just physically, but in spirit. This decline isn't about aging, it's about a lack of attention. The male body still wants to respond. It's waiting for the right signal. And as you'll soon see, that signal doesn't have to come from a pill. It can come from something more natural, more ancient, and more powerful than most men realize. In fact, it might already be sitting in your kitchen, just waiting for you to rediscover it. So now the question is, what is this forgotten remedy, and how can it restore the energy and response you once had? Let me introduce you to it. The forgotten oil that revives blood flow below the belt. I'll never forget the day I introduced this oil to one of my longtime patients, Gerald, a 72-year-old Vietnam veteran. He had that quiet, stoic toughness about him, proud and never one to complain. But that day, he looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." That hit me hard. Not because it was unexpected, I'd heard it before, but because I knew Gerald still had life in him. He just needed the right way to bring it back. When I told him a simple natural oil could help restore sensation, blood flow, and even his confidence, without medication, he raised an eyebrow and asked, "Oil? You mean something I rub on like lotion?" I nodded. "Exactly, but not just any oil, this one's special." What I handed him was rosemary essential oil, diluted with almond oil. Over the course of a week, the results were nothing short of remarkable. Most people think of rosemary as just a kitchen herb, but for centuries, traditional healers across the Mediterranean have used it not just for flavor, but for improving circulation, reducing inflammation, and aiding muscle recovery. The science is now catching up to what ancient cultures already knew. Rosemary oil contains rosmarinic acid, which helps relax and expand blood vessels. This means more oxygen-rich blood reaches the tissues below the belt. It also contains carnosol and cineol, natural compounds that reduce inflammation and enhance nerve response. This is exactly what aging male tissue needs. When applied to the lower pelvic area, including the pubic bone, groin, and base of the penis, rosemary oil does something many men haven't felt in years. It brings warmth, not a burning sensation, but a gentle activation, like your body is waking up. Gerald described it perfectly. It was like there was electricity under my skin again. It wasn't painful, just alive. He wasn't imagining it. The oil was stimulating peripheral circulation and gently activating his nerves, restoring what time had taken away. But beyond the biology, there's something else this oil does that can't be measured in numbers. It gives men a sense of control. You're not waiting for a pill to kick in or hoping for a better night. Instead, you're actively caring for yourself, intentionally reconnecting with a part of your body that deserves attention, not shame, not silence, but respect. It evolves into more than just a physical routine. It becomes a quiet ritual. And for men like Gerald, that ritual can become the turning point. So now you know the oil, but what about the method? How you apply it is key. Gentle mistakes in timing, technique, or area can mean the difference between minor results and a full transformation. Next, I'll walk you through the precise, step-by-step method that my patients use daily and how you can do the same starting tonight. Step-by-step how to apply it safely and effectively. One of the biggest misconceptions I see among men trying natural remedies is that they treat it like a task, something to rush through. But your body doesn't respond well to rushing, especially after. What it responds to is intention, gentle care, and a sense of presence. When it comes to using rosemary oil to restore blood flow below the belt, the way you apply it is just as important as the oil itself. Let me walk you through what I've taught dozens of my patients, and even my own father. First, prepare the oil correctly. Essential oils are powerful, which is why they need to be diluted in a carrier oil, like sweet almond, coconut, or jojoba oil. The rule of thumb is simple: 3 to 5 drops of rosemary oil per tablespoon of carrier oil. Gently mix it in your palm until it feels warm, not hot. That warmth signals to your body that something healing is coming. Now here's where most men rush, but where the magic truly happens. Make sure your skin is clean and dry. After a warm shower is ideal, as your pores will be open and your muscles will be relaxed. Stand or sit comfortably and begin at the base of your abdomen, just above the pubic bone. Use your fingertips to slowly massage the oil into your skin in small circular motion. You're not trying to press hard. This isn't about force, it's about rhythm. Move outward toward your inner thighs, gently covering the groin area and around the base of the penis. You don't need to apply it directly to the shaft, unless you choose to, but even massaging around it can bring renewed blood flow and sensation. Breathe as you do this, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and feel the warmth spread beneath your hand. For many men, this is the first time in years they've intentionally connected with this part of their body, not out of frustration or function, but for healing. And that's powerful. That's where the shift begins. You can do this once a day to start, preferably in the evening. Some men even do it twice, morning and night, especially in the first week. Each session should take 5 to 7 minutes. Not long, but enough to tell your body, I'm here, I'm listening, One of my patients, Frank, told me that after just 3 days of doing this, he felt something stir inside, not just physically, but emotionally. He said, I didn't know how much I'd missed this kind of attention. It reminded me that I'm still a man. And he was right. This isn't just massage, it's about reconnecting with yourself. It's a message to your body, your nervous system, your masculinity, and the results speak for themselves. But what exactly should you expect over the next 7 days? That's where it gets exciting. If you follow the right steps, day by day, changes start to unfold, and they're often more powerful than most men imagine. Let me show you what's possible. One day at a time. What to expect. Day by day progress over 7 days. Many men are skeptical when I say that noticeable results can begin within just 7 days. I get it. After years or even decades of decline, it's hard to believe that something as simple as a daily oil ritual could start to bring your body back to life. But I've seen it happen. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And when men stick with it, even for just 1 week, something shifts, not only below the belt, but in the way they carry themselves, in how they feel about their own bodies. Day 1. The first day is often more emotional than physical. You may not feel a huge change in sensation or performance yet, but the time you spend applying the oil, massaging gently, and breathing deeply, starts to reawaken a connection you may have neglected for years. One man told me after his first session, it wasn't the oil, it was realizing I had stopped treating myself in a way that felt respectful, like I mattered. That moment of care is where the healing begins. Days 2-3. By day 2 or 3, you might begin to feel a soft warmth in the area, a subtle buzz or tingling sensation, especially in the morning. That's blood flow, returning. Your body is remembering how to respond. It may feel small at first, but it's real. The tissues are being nourished again, and your nerve endings are waking up. Days 4-5. By day 4 or 5, men often report a noticeable shift in sensitivity. It becomes easier to get aroused, and erections may come more naturally, without needing constant mental stimulation. You might notice a return of morning wood or feel less numb during touch, and with that, confidence begins to quietly rebuild. Day 6. By day 6, something deeper sets in, not just physically, but emotionally. Men start to stand taller, feel more grounded, and look in the mirror and see possibility, not just age. That's when partners start to notice too, not necessarily because of sex itself, but because of the energy you're giving off. You're present again, and that energy is magnetic. Day 7. Day 7 is what I call the mirror moment. You'll catch yourself noticing that the area feels warmer, fuller, and more responsive. You'll realize it's not just about the oil, it's about what it symbolizes: attention, intention, and restoration. One man, aged 74, said, I thought that part of me was dead, but now it feels like mine again. And that's only the beginning. 7 days opens the door. But what if you could go even further? What if you could amplify these results, strengthen them, and make them last with just a few more natural tools? While rosemary oil is powerful, there are 3 other oils I often recommend that work even better when used together. Let me introduce you to the perfect trio that can take your results to the next level. A retired engineer from Ohio, broad-shouldered with a steady voice. He was the type of guy who built his life on logic, structure, and doing things the right way. One afternoon, he came to me with a quiet heaviness in his eyes. He didn't complain, but I could tell something was weighing on him. Smith didn't need to say much. After 20 minutes of small talk, he leaned in and said, Doc, I still love my wife. I still feel desire, but my body, it doesn't follow anymore. That sentence stayed with me. There was no bitterness in his voice, just quiet. I asked him a few simple questions. When did you last feel strong in your body? When was the last time you woke up with an erection? When was the last time intimacy felt like connection, not pressure? He paused. Years, he said. It's been years. Smith was skeptical when I told him about rosemary oil. Like many men his age, he'd tried the usual options: blue pills, supplements, even testosterone creams, but they either didn't work or made him feel off. The idea of using an oil, something natural, gentle, almost ritualistic, felt foreign to him. But I told him what I'll tell you. Sometimes the most powerful healing isn't loud, it's subtle, steady, and rooted in care. He followed my instructions. Just 5 to 7 minutes each night. After a warm shower, No distractions, just the oil, his hands and a quiet room. At first he said it felt silly, like he was just going through the motions, but by day 4 he noticed he was waking up before his alarm, not from discomfort, but from a quiet buzz of energy in his pelvis. It wasn't exactly arousal, but it was aliveness, warmth, flow. By day 6, he told me he stood in the mirror and looked at himself differently. "Doc," he said, "I saw a man again." That struck me deeply. We often think male health is all about performance, but it's really about presence, the ability to feel connected to your body, to know that something inside you still works, still responds, still matters. On day 7, he held his wife's hand during their morning walk and felt something shift, not just in him, but between them. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. She noticed the energy, the confidence, the quiet power of a man who had returned to himself. William's story isn't rare. It's just rarely told. Most men don't think a story like that is possible for them, but it is. And if you're wondering how to take these results even further, how to enhance what you've started and build momentum, then you'll want to hear about the 3 oils I've seen work wonders when combined with rosemary. They're natural, accessible, and incredibly powerful. Let's explore them next. Bonus: 3 oils to combine for even better results. While rosemary oil on its own is a powerful ally, I often remind my patients that nature rarely works in isolation. Just like our bodies, plants work best in synergy. Over the years I've seen even greater results when men combine rosemary with a few other time-tested oils, each one offering its own unique support for circulation, arousal, and overall male vitality. These aren't exotic or hard to find. They're simple, natural, and when used correctly, they can help take your progress to the next level. First is ginger oil. Yes, the same root you might use in cooking is also a potent topical stimulator. Ginger increases local blood flow by warming the tissues and expanding the vessel. It has that subtle heat that wakes up cold, underactive areas without being overwhelming. When blended with rosemary, ginger adds a dynamic edge. One of my patients, Martin, aged 71, called it his spark plug blend. He said it gave his body a boost that made him feel 10 years younger. The second oil is lavender. Now I know what some men think. Lavender is for sleep or stress relief, but lavender has so much more to offer. It's a calming oil, but it also promotes relaxation of the nervous system, which can improve circulation and reduce tension in the pelvic region. It's the perfect complement to rosemary's invigorating properties. Many men find it balances out the intense energy rosemary and ginger provide, creating a sense of calm and restored vitality. But let me share something I've learned as a doctor. Tension is one of the most overlooked enemies of male performance. If your pelvic floor, lower back, or inner thighs are holding on to stress, it affects blood flow, arousal, and even sensitivity. Lavender oil works not only on the muscles, but also on the nervous system. It helps you relax physically and mentally, and when the body feels safe, it responds. The third oil is one I've come to deeply respect: black seed oil. Known for centuries in Middle Eastern medicine, black seed is rich in antioxidants and compounds that support hormonal balance, reduce inflammation, and even help maintain healthy testosterone levels. When applied topically in a blend, it adds nourishment and deeper healing to the tissue. It's subtle but powerful. I usually recommend blending 3 drops of rosemary, 2 drops of ginger, and 1 drop of lavender or black seed oil into 1 tablespoon of a carrier oil, like almond or coconut. Mix gently, warm it in your palms, and apply using the same slow, circular massage technique we discussed earlier. Each oil brings something unique to the table, and together they create a fuller, more rounded response. What I love most about these blends is that they allow you to listen to your body. Some days you need more energy, other days more calm. Some days you need deeper recovery. You can adjust accordingly. That's the beauty of working with nature. You're not forcing results, you're inviting them. But even the best oils can only do so much if your daily habits are working against them. That's why the men who see the most lasting change are the ones who pair this routine with a few simple lifestyle shifts. And no, I'm not talking about drastic diets or joining a gym. I'm talking about 3 or 4 changes anyone can make starting today. Let me show you how to make this last. The one mistake most men over 60 make. This is the part that's hardest to say, but it needs to be said. The biggest mistake I see men over 60 make isn't physical, it's emotional. It's the quiet decision to give up on themselves. Not in a dramatic way, not all at once, but slowly, day by day, they begin to accept a version of life that feels smaller, more limited, and less connected. They convince themselves that what they're feeling, or not feeling, is just part of getting older. That their best years are behind them, that intimacy, confidence, and strength are things for younger men. But here's the truth. That belief is more damaging than any diagnosis. The moment you stop caring for yourself, especially below the belt, you begin to disconnect from the very energy that makes you feel alive. I've seen it happen time and time again. Men stop looking in the mirror, they stop reaching out to their partner, they stop expecting anything better from their bodies. And that quiet resignation steals more than just function, it steals joy. One of my patients, Arthur, told me something that broke my heart. He said, "I just didn't think I deserved to feel like a man anymore." And I told him what I'll tell you now. You do. You always have. You don't have to settle for decline. Your body is still listening. It's just waiting for you to speak to it again. You see, most men focus on fixing the problem at the surface. They want faster erections, more sensation, more stamina. And that's fine, but they forget about the foundation. Circulation, nerve response, hormonal balance, presence. These are the building blocks, and they're still within reach, but only if you're willing to shift from resignation to restoration. That's why this simple oil routine isn't just about results. It's about reclaiming something deeper, the sense that your body is worth caring for, that pleasure is still yours to experience, and that feeling good in your skin is something you don't have to apologize for. It's something you deserve. The mistake isn't in growing older. The mistake is believing that growing older means giving up on growth. And I promise you, it doesn't. You can age and still awaken. You can slow down and still rise, but only if you show up. Not once, not for a week, but with steady, quiet commitment. If you're ready to move from a short-term experiment to a lifelong habit, the next step is key. Real change doesn't come from what you do once, it comes from what you repeat. Let me show you how to turn this new connection with your body into a daily rhythm that fits easily into your life and lasts for years to come. How to make this a lifelong ritual. When I first introduced this oil routine to my patients, most of them treated it like an experiment. Something they tried for a week or two just to see what happened, and that's fine. We all need to start somewhere. But what I didn't expect was how many of them came back weeks later. Not just for a follow-up, but with a new energy in their voices. They didn't just want results anymore, they wanted rhythm. They wanted this to be a part of their life. Because the truth is, healing isn't just about what you do once, it's about what you do consistently, with care. And for men over 60, building this into a daily or weekly ritual isn't just helpful, it's powerful. The body responds to pattern. When you give it the same message every day, that you still matter, the body starts to believe it, not just through performance, but through presence, strength, and sensation. So how do you make it last? Start simple. Pair the oil massage with something you already do, like brushing your teeth at night or taking your morning shower. Keep the oil in a visible place, not tucked away in a drawer. Make it part of your space. Then give yourself just 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need candles, music, or anything elaborate. Just your hands, your breath, and your willingness to reconnect. Some of my patients like to begin with a brief walk, 5 or 10 minutes outside, just enough to get the blood moving. Others add in light movement, rising onto their toes, gently rotating their hips, stretching their thighs. It's not exercise, it's activation. Then the oil, warm it in your palms, breathe it in, and let your touch be firm but kind. You're not rushing, you're listening. This is your time. And here's the part that matters most: consistency. Some days you'll feel more, some days less. But every time you show up, you're telling your body, I'm here, I'm not going away. And over time, that message sinks deep. It becomes less about trying and more about being, a quiet return to something you thought was gone. James, a 66-year-old former truck driver, said it best. This isn't a routine anymore, it's part of me. like drinking my morning coffee or kissing my wife goodnight. It just belongs. That's the kind of shift we're after, not just improvement, but integration. Because once your body starts responding, the transformation becomes less about what you do and more about how you live. A final word to men over 60. After working with thousands of men over the last 3 decades, there's one thing I've come to believe deeply. Just because a part of your body has been quiet for a while, doesn't mean it's gone. It might be sleeping, it might be waiting, but it's not gone, and you're not broken. Too many men cross the age of 60 and start to feel like they're fading from their own lives, not because they've lost their strength or their minds, but because they've lost their connection to their bodies. They lose their sense of self, their place in the world. As I've had patients tell me they feel invisible, even in their own homes, not needed, not desired, not alive in the way they once were. My answer is always the same: you are still here, and your body still listens, even if it's been quiet for a while. The oil, the massage, the rhythm, those matter. But underneath it all is something even more powerful: attention. When you give attention to a part of yourself, it responds. It doesn't matter how long it's been neglected. The body remembers. Your hands, your breath, your presence. They tell your nervous system, your circulation, your spirit, you matter. This isn't about trying to feel 25 again. It's about feeling like yourself again, a fuller, stronger, more present version of you. A man who hasn't given up. A man who knows his worth doesn't expire with age. I've seen men in their 70s and even 80s look me in the eye after just a few weeks of this simple practice and say, "I feel like I came home to myself." That's what I want for you. So tonight, when you're alone, take a moment, sit quietly, warm a few drops of oil between your palms, breathe and touch your body like it deserves to be cared for, because it does. This isn't about chasing you. This is about honoring everything your body has carried you through. The pain, the work, the years, and choosing right now to care for it anyway. Because that care is strength. That care is masculinity. And the truth is, once you begin this journey, once you reconnect and reclaim this part of yourself, you may find that something deeper begins to shift, not just in your body, but in your relationships, your confidence, your clarity. Because when you show up for yourself in this way, the world shows up differently for you too. Somewhere along the way, most men are quietly told, sometimes not so quietly, that after a certain age, they should expect less energy, less connection, less intimacy. But I'm here to remind you, that's a lie. You are still here. Your body is still capable. And this journey you've just begun is proof of that. We've talked about why men over 60 struggle below the belt. Not because they're broken, but because circulation, nerve response, and presence have slowly faded. We've explored how something as natural as rosemary oil can reawaken those systems, and how pairing it with the right intention and simple daily rituals can bring back warmth, sensation, and even confidence. You've heard real stories from men like Smith and James. Men who didn't settle, men who turned quiet hope into powerful change. You've learned how combining rosemary with other natural oils and movement can deepen that transformation. But what I hope you carry forward most isn't just the method, it's the message. You matter. Your health, your pleasure, your presence, they still belong to you. And every day, you choose to care for yourself, no matter how small the act, is a day you reclaim your strength. So don't let this be the end of a video. Let it be the beginning of a return to yourself, to your body, to the man you still are. The next chapter is waiting. Let it start with you. If this video spoke to you, even in a small way, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button so YouTube knows this message matters. Share it with another man who might need to hear these words today. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what part of this connected with you most. And if you believe in this kind of honest, empowering health advice for men over 60, consider supporting the channel through a donation. Every bit helps me create more content that puts real care back into men's health. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to walk this path with you.